Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. All right, time to complain about Single Lives Matter issues again. So I recently got involved with quite a number of really good relationships. First, my friend at a church set me up on a date, and I made a really close friend. I want to say I don't think it's a romantic relationship, and that was good. And then I felt really emboldened, and I asked a number of other friends to set me up on dates, and I made one more close friend. And then I went off to Taiwan to attend my grandmother's funeral, and I felt very emboldened. At the funeral, I was telling my family members that my grandmother was going to talk to Mary Curry to set me up on a blind date, and so I even gave my grandmother in her casket some material to give to Mary Curry to work on her research, and so this is really emboldened by everything that I had managed to score in the last 2 months. And then after I came back from the funeral, I spent another week and a half, just a short holiday in Taiwan, and then I for some reason I still cannot explain, I decided to log on to my old dating website that I hadn't used for many years, and so I I actually had to recreate that account because here in the United States, Americans are very unhealthy for their age, right? Um, a lot of people don't know how old I am. By the way, I still got to show my ID when I go into a bar most of the time, and even though I almost to the point I could drink twice over now, and I still have to show my ID. Can you believe that? I was in even in Macau. I think you only have to be 18 to go into a casino, and I still have to show my ID over there. And so long story short, I don't believe the age that the government tells me. Right? Some people say I lie about my age. I disagree with that. I age at a different rate than the government says, and I obviously live a lifestyle that the government probably doesn't agree with, right? 4 years ago, a lot of times I couldn't even go into a public place because I refused to do this one thing that the federal government said that, well, not necessarily the federal government, but it was recommending us doing, and some cities were requiring it, let's say it that way. And so I literally had to recreate the dating profile because it didn't apply in Taiwan anymore. And then I went on a date. Within 48 hours of putting up that profile, if you could believe that. That's a record for me. And at the unfortunately, I had to go home to the United States the day after that. We went to a sushi place, and then on the way back to my hotel, I had to I took a subway train. She got off at the Taipei main station to take a different train back home, and I stayed on the train. And when I watched her get off the train at Taipei main station, it was like watching a part of me just walk away from me, possibly to never return again, right? And so I got back to the United States, and I'm just heartbroken. And I for the last 5 days, I've barely managed to get much done. In fact, earlier today, I almost lost one of my jobs because I was so heartbroken that I had difficulty with answering what should have been a very simple email, and I just can't focus anymore. Now, here's the problem. I wish I had more sympathy toward when I ran into these things. I have colleagues who have children who get into various situations, or and they get a lot of sympathy, right? Or even a sick spouse, right? Or I had a colleague who loved extreme sports. If he got hurt, he would probably get a lot more sympathy, right? And meanwhile, on the way from being from the day you started dating, right? Think back to when you were 18 or maybe 16, when you went on your first date, up until the day you say I do. That journey is fraught with all sorts of perils, right? And it's a journey that I think society should encourage, right? But yet, we get a lot less sympathy when anything goes wrong compared to when somebody goes rock climbing and something bad happens, compared to when somebody decides they like to abuse their body and something happens to them, right? I had a couple of colleagues who had medical issues that may have been exacerbated by their lifestyle choices, right? And they got a lot of sympathy there, right? It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It just doesn't. Right. And meanwhile, 4 years ago, I refused to do this one thing, right? And as a result, my body, as a result of that choice and a bunch of other choices, I look so young for my age that I can't even put the age that the government says I am onto a dating app here in the United States, right? I kind of could in Taiwan, but not here in the United. It's really funny when you zoom out and look at it this way, right? If you don't get so bogged down by the details, right? And you zoom out from 30,000 feet and you look at it, right? Anyway, I really need your prayers. I feel like my heartbreak situation is causing another precipitous downward spiral in my life. I barely enjoyed viewing the lunar occultation of Mars today because I was consumed. I was consumed. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.